So another video that my community has asked me to react to. Xbox has finally revealed its true hand. Buckle up, we're going for a ride. And it is by VG Fighting. Hey everyone, thank you so much for your submissions on my Discord. If there's a video that you would like for me to react to, definitely feel free to join my Discord. There's a section in there that you can post all your requests for reactions to, and I will get to them at some point. So this one is another one from VG Fighting School. Hopefully I can reach out to him at some point and get him on the show. But this one is for Xbox has finally revealed its true hand. Buckle up, we're going for a ride. Now, as you can see, these videos, I do give them time to mature. I do give them time to get their views. I don't just do them day and date, and I will not do that because I respect the videos and the time and the effort that these creators actually put in. So this video has been out for quite some time. As you can see here, if I take this away, it's been out for 12 days. So Xbox has finally revealed its true hand. Buckle up, we're going for a ride. Let's check this video out. Let's go.
For those of you who may or may not know, Age of Empires and Age of Mythology are going to be coming to PlayStation consoles.
Yes, they are.
If many of you are probably wondering what this move is, I strongly believe that this is a combination of what I call the takeover, where Xbox is going into PlayStation's territory and taking over with the exact kind of game that PlayStation is lacking.
Now, I just want to put this out there. A lot of people said that this game you're seeing on screen is actually trash. It's bad. And I get it. It's not as good as the Arkham games, right? But it does look actually quite good. The more I'm seeing him play it, the more I'm tempted to pick it up and actually, play it myself. Good stuff.
In the live service games, the community games, those titles that the vocal PlayStation fans have jeered at, not knowing that these were sleeper, games, basically sleeping giants in their own rights. Let me show you something about this game. So first of all, you're going to hear comments, especially about Forza, and people are going to say things like, and I heard MBG say this in his last video clip that Astro Cyborg put on Twitter, that the reason you're seeing Xbox go to PlayStation to sell these games is simply because their butts being kicked severely. Many of these commentators don't play on PC, so they're very much unaware that a game like Age of Empires, a game like Forza, are games that have been grossing in the top 100 games on Steam almost every single year since Xbox took its games day one to the PC platform. Let me show you something. Shout out to Princess Peach's, a lot of work, and audience member of this channel who went back and used the Wayback Machine to pull some data for me. This is the Steam bestseller list of 2017. On here, you already see NBA 2K17, right? And some other games in the, in the bronze category as well as Doom. Guess what game is grossing in the top 100? Age of Empires 2, 2018.
So on PC, Age of Empires is massive, right? It's a huge game. It's a huge franchise. There's a lot of love and, affection for it. People love these games. I mean, these games are designed for the PC audience. They're not really designed for the console audience. They can take quite a long time to actually play. But, you'll see like some of the biggest creators out there like Joe who love these games, right? And they spend sometimes days playing them in just one match. So, Age of Empires is massive on PC. The console reach, I can see how they're trying to get into the console reach, but to dismiss Age of Empires or like Total War games is a false fallacy.
Let's go ahead and look at the bronze category. Age of Empires 2 with NBA 2K19 in that same category on Steam. In fact, Call of Duty World War II is in the same category at the time. We go to 2019. Guess who's here as well? Age of Empires 2. We go to 2020. Guess who's here? Age of Empires, I think 4 or still 2 at this time. I can't remember. Yeah, Age of Empires 2. We go to 2020. Age of Empires 4.
Like I said, Age of Empires is a big game and it grosses revenue like crazy. But those games will always appeal to that audience, and the moment those games come out, they're going to be all over it. So I'm not surprised in this. And there are console gamers who actually want these games, and for those people, that is why it's there. But Sony doesn't provide any of these games at all, and that's where Xbox has come in to consume that niche.
We go to 2021 or 2022. Sorry, is that 2020? Sorry, 21. We go to 22. Age of Empires 4. We go to 2023. Age of Empires 4 in the top 100 games every year. And if you want to know or get a sense as to, how much money this game was making, just look at the other games in the same category as it. You'll be able to get a sense and a feel for what these games are. In fact, if you can look through each category and find, how many copies were sold by each of these games, you should be able to do the math yourself and come up with a number that gives you kind of an idea. You might be off, you might be spot on, but you get an idea why Steam ranks these games as the top grossing games on their platform. It wasn't until 2024 that I cannot find this game anywhere. And it just happened to be that the game is coming to the PlayStation platform. One of my audience members said, it appears that Xbox is now agent smithing its way into PlayStation's ecosystem. And this game is a filter. It's going to filter a whole bunch of folk. Games like these, because games like these are they're strategy games. And another really interesting thing is, ladies and gentlemen, it's basically a niche that has been largely untapped within the PlayStation ecosystem.
Which is pretty much what I said earlier, right? It's a genre that, there's a kind of desire for. There's people who want these, but PlayStation just doesn't deal with this genre at all. This isn't their forte, this isn't their specialty, and quite honestly, them trying to get into this genre probably is a bad idea. But this is where the brilliance of Microsoft can actually move in and actually, infiltrate that niche and take the customers, not for Xbox specifically, but, have those customers spend money on this game as opposed to another.
I mean, you're thinking about it, right? Because if you really go ahead and take a very good look, this game is coming out very soon. I don't even know what date they've put out for it. And here's the thing, March 4th or so, they're going to bring out new content. Then I think they're going to use PlayStation 5 to revive their game, thereby sucking time away from them. All game updates from March 4th onwards will go to all platforms simultaneously. Steam, Windows, PlayStation 5, and players will all be able to play together. Wow. Then they're going to take the globally beloved Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, will make its debut on PlayStation 5. Alongside the release, we'll be dropping one of the most exciting DLC expansions for Age of Empires 2 Digital Edition yet, packed with fresh new content, new civilizations for rank play, blah, 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 blah.
See, he's saying the same thing that I said earlier. This is aimed at capturing that audience that has been, gagging for these sorts of games and giving them exactly what they want.
They are literally, oh my gosh, they're literally bringing their old game to revive and use PlayStation to jumpstart that game. And I haven't heard a single PlayStation fan that's been so vocal about Forza say a single word so far.
Because this game doesn't appeal to the majority. They see this game as a throwaway game. That's the reality of it. That's the nuance of it. At the end of the day, Forza is a major title. Forza is a pillar title. Forza going pretty much signaled that, everything else is now pretty much at some point potentially going to go. Now, I say potentially because they flip-flop with their decisions like there's no tomorrow. It's still a case-by-case basis, but there's no red tape, as they say, whatever that means. But, Forza just is a bigger name. It's a bigger franchise that has more players in terms of the casual audience. They've hit 44 million players, for example. So that should pretty much tell you the overall scope of Forza Horizon 5, and you know, for PlayStation fans at least, it's a much bigger troll attempt than say Age of Empires.
They've been really quiet. Now they may break out at dawn and start to yell, but the quiet is actually really loud, right? I can hear it so loud because I think now they're starting to see the idea behind this. An area that PlayStation canceled 10 live service games. Xbox has now brought a total at this point, with this confirmation, we have about 10 live service games from Xbox that are available to play everywhere.
Do you know what? All this time I've been talking, and I never really realized what he's saying here. And I'm gonna assume that maybe some of you haven't caught on quite yet. Now, here's the thing, right? Live service games are very difficult to do. Very difficult. But if you can succeed, like Sea of Thieves has, that's a cash cow that's going to bring you money like crazy, right? And if there is multiple of these on PlayStation that can play unanimously with every single one, PC, Epic, Steam, Xbox, Switch, whatever, that's just revenue coming in. And sure, they're going to lose 30% of that revenue, but that is 70% revenue coming in from every direction, which basically just funds more games. And it just keeps the bank balance healthy, it keeps it happier, and it keeps the profit margins looking even sweeter. That's what he's saying is happening here. They're taking over the live service landscape by just flooding the platforms with these live service games. That's interesting. That's an interesting thought.
When we look at the kinds of games that PlayStation players play, it's these kinds of games, community games. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. All this talk about data and all, you can easily go do your own personal anecdotal surveys.
It is true, right? When you're looking at like the top 10 list here, top 15 list, Fortnite, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto 5, these, they're looking at the multiplayer side of things, Marvel Rivals. This is the, PlayStation, right? Roblox, NBA, college football, Madden, Minecraft. These are all massively multiplayer games. Multiplayer Dragon Ball, Kill the Justice League. It can be played solo, but it's a multiplayer game. Another multiplayer game. You've got one single player game in there, and that is God of War Ragnarok. Now, I know people are going to say Grand Theft Auto 5 is a single player, but we all know that they're playing the multiplayer there. And then when you look at the other side for, Sakana again, it's the same thing. You've got maybe one or two single player, but the majority of these games are multiplayer. And then you look at Active Users Weekend in Jan. It's the same thing. These are the games that people are looking to play. And these are the ones that the majority of the people play. And so that's where the money is, making sure that these live service games are everywhere.
It's simple. Turn on your PlayStation or your Xbox, look at your friends list, look at what games they're playing, look at what games they played last, look at what their library is, look at how they're engaging with their games. It will almost map out with what Mapiskatella is showing over here.
It does. It does. It absolutely does. I see, like, my friends list is either Fortnite, Call of Duty, Marvel Rivals, Roblox, Minecraft. These are the games that I'm seeing on there. I see the occasional college football on there. Don't really see much of wrestling or the other ones down there, but I see those ones as the main games that people play, which is, it's on point. Interesting. That is interesting. So by flooding them with live service games, they are essentially just owning that part of the market. And obviously, as we know, despite what Twitter wants to tell you, where they say we only care about single player games and no one cares about live service, the charts don't lie, right? The sales charts don't lie. The weekly revenue intake for these microtransaction filled live service games don't lie. People are playing these and they're having a great time playing these, and these are technically their main games. So the echo chamber that's on Twitter really doesn't know what they're talking about.
On his weekly engagement tracker, January 25th, 2025. You can see it for yourself. There is really no discrepancy here because that's the way things roll. I'm Nigerian. Most of my friends are Nigerians. When I fire my PlayStation and I look at their last set of played games, do you know what I see? I straight up see college. I straight up see FC football, FC soccer. That's what I see. Now that game will show up once in a while and back and forth on the top 15 list, but I almost know that I'm gonna see that game on almost all my Nigerian friends, playlist. That's just it's insane. That's pretty much what most of my friends will play. Then my friends that are not Nigerian that don't play soccer, I'll see 2K, I'll see Call of Duty, because these were games that when I came to university here, that's what they were playing. When I would go to, my friends' dorm rooms, I'll be like, don't you guys have a soccer game? They look at me like, no. Pick up the controller and play some Call of Duty. And I'm like, I don't know how to play this game. It's the same pattern, the same trend. It's been that way for decades.
It has. These games have been on. Like, I remember, when my uncle passed away, we went to his wake and they put on the PlayStation that he had there. And the only games that he had on his dashboard were UFC, Fortnite, Call of Duty. It was all these like 3 or 4 multiplayer games, and that's it. He didn't have anything else installed. His kids would come around and play as well, and these are the only games that they would really play. There was not, I tried telling them, what about games like Uncharted, and they're like, nah, we don't have any interest in those games. We want to play multiplayer. At which point I told them, why not just get an Xbox? That's the king of multiplayers. But that's beside the point. The reality is, these games are way more popular than the single player games. And it's what Phil Spencer himself has said this. You'll get the kind of standout ones that do exceptionally well, but they're few and far between. The Baldur's Gates, the Black Myth Wukongs, those games aren't the norm, but the exception. In reality, you get the 3 to 4 million sales. Spider-Man did exceptionally well with 11 million, but did it even break even? You have to question it, because they didn't even bother releasing the DLCs. They quickly rushed the PC port out to make more money. So, lots of red flags there.
So if you think that somewhere, somehow, this is all Xbox capitulation and all, I think you're mistaken. This is what's called pretty much infecting your competitor's ecosystem. Basically flooding it with so many games and so many titles that you'll create Xbox fans that have PlayStation consoles. That's literally what they're trying to do. They're not interested anymore in out-consoling PlayStation. No need. Shoot. And I'm about to say this, it sounds crazy. If Microsoft could carry PlayStations on the Microsoft Store, woo, they do it. Lord have mercy. Why did that even come to my mind? At this point, they're like, you know what? You go sell the hardware. We'll sell the software. Now, I know somebody might hear this and say, well, they've given up on hardware. It's not possible that they're going to give up 30 million users. That's their bread and butter. That's why
There you go. Right? I was waiting for him to come to this point, and there you go. They're not going to give up on those 35 million users, right? They're just not, because those 35 million users are Game Pass users, and that's like 4 to 5 billion in revenue, right? And considering Game Pass costs what, 2 billion to run, that's a lot of profit there. So they're not going to throw that money away. They know that the next generation console, even if it sold 30 million or 40 million, is still going to be the main source of Game Pass. So they're not going to throw that away. No, not in their right mind. Now, will it be the main, attraction? No, but it's going to be another conduit to play Game Pass, the main conduit, because the console is the core of Xbox. Now, people may say, well, you can play it on your TV, on the cloud. There was a this dude in the UK, forgot his name, but he has a show. I don't watch it personally, but I remember hearing it in the interview where they actually played Indiana Jones through the cloud on their TV via Game Pass, and you know they played it from start to finish and had a great time and were happy with it. The point is, you know, that's great. That's coming. That's one aspect of revenue, but it will never be the main focus. Well, not never. Eventually, they want it to be the main focus, but right now, it's just not there. So the console is needed to maintain Game Pass. So the console isn't going anywhere, and all these people thinking that it will, it's not. And so people need to kind of get with the program. Now I know people are going to troll and say all sorts of stupid stuff, but hey, isn't PlayStation the one now releasing more and more games on Nintendo Switch? They can try and sugarcoat it however way they want. It's not Sony's fault. It's not Sony doing it. It's not this. It's not that. It's never Sony's fault. But remember the anecdote I said. They're like frogs in boiling water, being nurtured and cooked. They just don't realize it yet.
They make most of their, their sales from. That's where they have most of their subscriptions from. So don't go dreaming that they're going to go ahead and do that. No, they just want to farm PlayStation for new users. And I'm sure all they need is just a dedicated. You see that number that y'all are saying, well, they wanted to make Game Pass 100 million users and nobody is actually doing. It's you now because they didn't find 100 million users. They're coming to you. It's like a swarm of vampire bats. They're coming into the PlayStation ecosystem, and boy, I tell you what, it's gonna be on, because now by the time PlayStation will launch its next game on PlayStation, Xbox would have launched almost 4 or 5 on PlayStation. Let me count: Doom, Dark Ages, Forza Horizon 5, Age of Empires Definitive Edition, that's 2. And then Age of Mythology, that's 4. If I'm missing another one, please tell me. Because, again, on the calendar, when is the next PlayStation game coming out? The next PlayStation first-party game coming out?
Nobody knows.
I couldn't tell you. Ghost of Yotei, we don't have a date. I don't know. If you have a date, let me know.
Look, if Ghost of Yotei was coming this year, we probably would have seen it as the one more thing with a better showcase on the state of play. And PlayStation have already announced, well, according to rumors, they're considering not even doing a showcase this year because they've got nothing to show. If they're considering not to have a showcase this year, that means they have nothing coming this year. Period. Everything that people are expecting to come this year isn't happening. Now, we do have some great third-party games coming, but they're going on multiplayer. That state of play that they had, 99% of it was multiplayer. All of it was multiplayer, apart from 3 games that were PlayStation exclusive. One was a remaster. The other one was, what was it? The new Saros, which is years away, potentially PS6. And of course, they had a VR game, which is multiplayer as well, because it's available on PC. So technically 2. So out of the whole showcase, I think it was like 23 or 25 of those games out of 27. 25 out of 27 is multiplayer. Coming to Xbox, I think 23 of them are coming to Xbox day 1. 25 of them are coming to PC day 1. And then 2 of them, well, actually, Days Gone is also going to PC day 1 as well, right? If I'm not mistaken. So technically, it was just Saros. And even that, I suspect, is going to get a PC announcement at a later date. They're just not being transparent about it because they know the reaction that their community is going to give them. But boy, oh boy, the salt is going to be real when they start seeing those pictures of Steam on there.
That's 4. Then they're going to bring you one anthology. Before they get their act together and bring you another game, boom, Q4 is coming. Before they bring you Marathon, another Call of Duty game is there. Okay.
I mean, who's going to play Marathon when Call of Duty is there? I mean, outside of the Destiny community. I mean, obviously, the PlayStation community are going to jump all over it like they did with Concord and say it is the greatest game ever even though they know deep down it wasn't. And even if Marathon is a bad game, they are going to shill for it and cap for it like there's no tomorrow. We know that that's going to happen because they did it with Concord. Concord was a fundamentally broken game. It was broken at its core. It had severe balancing issues. It had severe gameplay issues, and it just wasn't fun to play, without a group of friends. And I'll be honest with you, almost any game is good with a group of friends.
If you don't see this particular cycle and this cadence, just watch and wait and see everybody run out of this gas of, oh, they didn't sell consoles, so they're losing. They're coming to sell games on our platform. Well, they're coming to take y'all's money. And that money is going to now basically have to fight against, or at least make gamers consider and say, which game am I going to play? Which game am I going to buy? And then the hate buyers, the hate buyers, the ones who want to sit there and mock, ooh, I'm playing Xbox games on my PlayStation. They want your money too. They want you to buy copies of that game for all your fellow, Xbox haters. This is going to be very interesting.
It will. It's going to be super interesting because the way Microsoft is going, all of this is just going to fund more games for Game Pass. And now that they're going down this route, this is something that he didn't mention, which, VGF, if you are watching this, something that you should consider, maybe in an upcoming video, or maybe if you want to come to my show, we can have a talk about it, is acquisitions. Because if you look at the PlayStation community now, especially with people like Persona, acquisitions are now good. They're a great thing. And I'm pretty sure Microsoft is gearing up for another acquisition to add to their Game Pass portfolio to make it that much more appealing. It's going to happen. They are going to acquire more. And PlayStation fans now say acquisitions are good, so there's no problems, right? If they go and buy Sega or Capcom or anyone, those games will remain multiplayer anyway. But they'll be on Game Pass day one, and I will absolutely love it.
Because I think when Satya Nadella said the words, he wanted to redefine what an Xbox fan was. Yeah. I didn't see these smaller games coming. I only thought it was going to be the big names like Starfield. And they haven't even said anything about Starfield. And here they are basically using y'all to jumpstart games that are basically dried up. Man.
Well, that's what Phil said, right? Where games have reached a peak and they're no longer bringing revenue in, they are going to use those games to go to wider audiences to bring more money in. Exactly what he said here as well. So that's exactly what Phil said in pretty much every interview. That is the idea. Even with the Destin interview, when Destin asked him about Starfield, he said, no, it's not off the table. If they can see that, the game is drying up and there's an audience that wants the game on the, the wider berth, then they're going to do it because it's no longer bringing revenue for Xbox or the customers, or the PC. So the revenue there has dried. So at that point, they'll bring in more audiences to do it. And they did that with multiple games like Sea of Thieves, even though that game was doing well from what I'm hearing. Hi-Fi Rush completely bottomed out, so they did it with that. Pentiment, I think that was just one of the games they threw in for the sake of it. And of course, the last one. And yeah, so interesting video, and I can see where he's going. It's, the whole live service takeover, because Sony can't make a live service game to save their life. And even the one successful one that they did have, which is Helldivers 2, they forgot to actually monetize it. The whole purpose of a live service game is to be monetized so it can fund future games. And yeah, they forgot the monetization part, which is crazy. But that's an area that Microsoft specializes in, and there are loads of live service games, and those are the games that Microsoft really should be pushing, because there is a gap in the hole there, and there are a lot of people that like these live service games on PlayStation. Twitter is just an echo chamber of about 5-6 true PlayStation diehard fans who don't like it, but around them, these live service games, multiplayer games, they're king. And they have the majority of the players. It's simple as that.
It's going to be fun. God willing, we get to sit here and see this stuff. For those of you who like this whole saga playing out, grab your popcorns. Because I can tell you, man, you're going to need it. Thanks for watching the video, folks. Peace out.
Thanks so much for an amazing video, and I hope you enjoyed the react and my thoughts and views on it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you agree with the notions that I came up, I was putting forward, the thoughts of that I was giving up? Do you have any of your own ones to share? I'd love to read them in the comment section below. VGFS, put up really good points, even some that I did not see at all, like the live service angle. That was a really, really sharp turn there. That switched on a couple of light bulbs for me. It's interesting, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. And that's the video. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell to stay up to date with all content I release. You can also become a YouTube member where you get these videos early before anyone else. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Remain legend.